Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to a very special review in advance of release of the new Alan Parsons Project box set for iRobot. This was originally released in 1977. It was their second studio album at the time, but it has now been expanded to a 7-disc deluxe edition box set here, released by Cooking Vinyl, and it is coming out October 17th, 2025. So mark your calendars, and we're going to get into it here, do a full review, unboxing, so you're going to know all about it in advance, and we'll do that here in just a bit. But before we start, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already clicked the subscribe button, please do. Also leave a comment, hit like. All those things do help support my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by turning on notifications, you'll never miss an episode and stay up to date on super cool things like this, where we're talking about this box set in advance of release so that you can see it in all its glory before it drops on October 17th of 2025. But I want to start with just a little brief history where we know that the duo here is Alan Parsons and Eric Wolfson. But Parsons is notable for the sound engineering that he had done before the band actually got started. And not everyone knows it. It is widely known, but I mean, he worked on such amazing albums as the Beatles' Abbey Road in '69, also their album Let It Be in 1970. But I think the big one that everyone knows that he was part of was Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon in '73. And then he also worked on Ambrosia, their self-titled release in '75, but he really set himself up and became well known as a sound engineer. And then Eric Wolfson was a notable songwriter, having worked with artists like Marianne Faithfull, Peter Noone from Herman's Hermits, members of 10cc, and then also with Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice. So all of this together really led to the band having a footing to get started on, and they decided to call the band the Alan Parsons Project in order to sort of build on the success that Alan was already having at that point. And they released their debut album, Tales of Mystery and Imagination, in 1976. This was based on the poetry of Edgar Allan Poe. But for the follow-up album, which is what we're talking about here, iRobot, they moved away from the theme of horror into science fiction. And in this particular case, they focused on the robot stories of Isaac Asimov for this and explored the philosophical themes of AI. And I think that is such an amazing thing because here, 48 years on from the release of the original album itself, those questions, those themes are so relevant today, maybe even more so than they were in 1977. And what I like about Eric's lyrics in particular about this album here is that, and I do think that the music certainly lends itself even more to this, but you can really interpret his lyrical content in a multitude of ways, really leaving it up to the individual to draw the final conclusion of what the song is about. One of the bonus tracks that's on this box set here on the first disc is an interview with Eric, or it's an excerpt from it, where he explains that if you ask either Alan or himself, you're going to get a different answer as to what the song is about. And I think that is really suited to the band, where it allows the idea to not be tied to a specific time or to a specific idea, but it really allows itself to be its own thing for each person who's hearing it, and it doesn't become outdated. 1977, 48 years on, it could be, but in this particular case, totally still relevant today. And I think that's one of the absolute most powerful effects that the band had, was its lyrical interpretation and how the music plays on that. In this album, iRobot certainly does that. And so, released in 1977, we are now getting a 7-disc box set of this thing. You get all the write-up on everything that is on the back side of it. You know, sometimes those things come off and it's just the album art, but I love that they left it on here for this particular part. So there's 2 LPs in here that are cut at 45 RPMs, so really great sound quality. 4 CDs are in here, and then there is a Blu-ray. 80 tracks spread across those 4 CDs that are in here. The LP and the Blu-ray duplicate what is on disc 1, the original album itself. So I'm not counting those 20 tracks as well, but you could and say there's 100 or more songs that are on this thing. But if we're just talking about the unique individual tracks that are here, where there's a total of 80, just some repeated in terms of whether they're on LP, CD, or the Blu-ray. So let me pull this out now. I want to start taking this apart and showing you because we're going to look at the individual CDs as we talk about it. But here is the spine on this. The box set is really beautifully done. And if you remember their previous box set, Pyramid, also done by Cooking Vinyl. I've done a full review and unboxing for this one, so I will leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. But if you know this one and the way that it's done, this new one is very similar to that style. So that already assists you in knowing what this is. And it's just open on the side and everything slides out like this. I'll go through all this in a little bit more detail in a bit, but we do get a press release folder with a lot of cool stuff in it. We do get the 2 LP, and I will go ahead and show you that now because we do get it in gatefold style. There are no inner sleeves in here. It is just the discs themselves in the white paper sleeves that come with this. So, and it is just black vinyl that's in here, but as I mentioned, it is the 45 RPM, so that's why it is a 2 LP set, helping to give it a really great sound quality. And then there's the book that's in here, which again, I will go through in more detail towards the end, but I wanted to open up and show you where the CDs, the 4 CDs are at the front, and in the back, the Blu-ray is in there. So we're going to start with this, and I'm going to pull each one of these out so that I can show it to you and talk to you about it. Let me put this down over here. All right, so we're going to talk about now CD1 that's in here, and one of the things I love is that you get the individual disc like this. No sleeves for the CDs themselves, but they are in there. So you can pull this out, just have this sitting out. You don't have to have the entire box set open to do it, and that I really love. So this is a new 2025 remaster. And like the other recent remasters that they have done, in particular, I was holding up this one here, their debut album, and I showed you Pyramid. I really feel that they have exponentially enhanced the sound of these. There's just so much extra vibrance to the music now as part of these that I feel like the remasters that we've been getting through Cooking Vinyl are now the definitive editions of this. I have here the previous time that this had been remastered, which was the Arista Legacy Edition. And these sound amazing, don't get me wrong. These were the definitive versions, but I gotta say, these new ones here take the cake away from that. Just absolutely really great. Now there's also 14 bonus tracks that are included on this one here, and it collects together the past released bonus tracks from the various versions that have come out on this particular album. It did the same thing on Pyramid, and it does include the 5 bonus tracks that were on this one here, the Arista Legacy Edition. Those are on this version as well, along with a bunch of other stuff, because now we're getting 14. In particular, those 2 interview excerpts that I was talking about, that's part of this disc here. So let's pull out CDs 2, 3, and 4, because these are really all together, but they've got slightly different art with the color that is chosen for each one. But these here are the bonus studio recordings. And again, similar to the way that the Pyramid box was done, this really kind of gives you the fly on the wall experience. And it's sort of like you're in the studio with the band, which is a very cool thing. But let me explain about that a bit more, because it's not just in there with lots of talking and other stuff. There's some of these that have been released. The Doors did it, where you're in the studio and you're listening to all the banter, and it's literally like they just press tape and they recorded an hour-long session or whatever, and you're hearing that. This is done a bit differently, and I think far more interestingly than that. It has the band working on the songs, but you basically go through the writing process, how it's been worked up, and you're getting to hear it constructed and built over multiple takes. So the tracks that are on here focus on an individual thing, such as a vocal, a lead guitar, a keyboard, or the orchestra. And it really starts with the foundation of the song and then all that added stuff that comes to it, building it up. And you can hear the power of the song. Sometimes the stuff, can be lost when you're hearing the final product and it's got the lead vocal and everything that's on it. And it sounds wonderful, but you don't really know all that goes into it and all the little extra parts. And this is back in a time when somebody like Alan Parsons was creating these things, bringing in a soprano vocal for something as opposed to creating it on a synthesizer or something like that, bringing in an orchestra to do something again as opposed to having it replicated through a synthesizer or whatnot. But you get all 10 tracks spread out across these 3 CDs. And normally I would say I don't like it when songs repeat one after the other and you get 5 or 6 versions of the same track. But in this particular case, each one is so unique the way that it's done that it builds on the last one. And it doesn't actually sound like you're hearing a song repetitively done. It's not like it is take 1, take 2, take 3 of the whole song. It'll be like the original foundation or the rhythm tracks, and then it'll be the lead guitar parts of it. It'll be a background vocal portion. It'll be the orchestration. It'll be the keyboard. And then it might end with like a single edit version of it or something, or an alternate edit version of it or something like that. Again, making it different than what is on the main album. But the way that I look at it is it's basically like getting a 10 to 15 minute long expanded edition of a particular song, which really kind of makes this even more prog than the original album already was at the time. We're now getting a 3-disc version of the album. And I'll say this too. All of the content on here sounds absolutely amazing. There's no low quality demos or anything. It all has a great sound. It's not tape hissing and all that sort of stuff. So with all of that sort of stuff that's on here, it's very listenable. It's very enjoyable, making these 3 discs a lot of fun to go through and enjoy, kind of a different way to hear the album. And then you get the Blu-ray disc that's in here, and that has the Dolby Atmos 5.1 surround sound mixes on it. But what's cool about this one here is that different than the last box set Pyramid, there's video content on this one as well. So you not only get that audio portion, you're now getting some video. There is a promotional video for I Wouldn't Want to Be Like You. There's also the Eric Woolfson interview footage on it as well. And that is a real treat to get as part of this box set. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the rest of this. So as I mentioned, we've got this book here that is the size of the box, like an LP. Just took the discs out, but that's where they lived. And let's thumb through this. So there's really great storytelling about the making of this album. Lots of great stuff to read in here. There's cool little promo things and single releases and buttons and just alternate stuff, but all things that really support the album. There's interviews that are in here that are done with various people that partook in the album itself. It's also interviewing family members of Eric Woolfson in here. So you're getting a real cool perspective of this whole thing spread out through this book, making it very, very cool to, get that different insight. But just all the stuff that's part of this. If you're a fan of this album, here's a photo of a lot of the different people that played on the album. But if you're a fan of this album here, it's just a great experience to go through this thing, to read the different things, to hear the different insights on it, that just flesh this out to more than it perhaps was in your mind at the start of all of this. I know that it did that for me, and I would certainly hope that it'll do that for you as well. And this is also a lot of fun. So like the last one, again, we get the promotional folder in here. These are things, press releases that were given out to people that were reviewing albums at the time. And I kind of got to say, I wish that I was part of those days where I could get cool little packets like this. I would have kept every single one from my favorite bands. But then again, I guess I'm getting them as part of these box sets now. So I am getting them. But lots and lots of fun, you know. So before the internet, they had to give you things like this, photos of Alan Parsons, the one that's also on the inside of the LP cover. But this way you could print a photo in your magazine or whatever. This is actually the hype sticker that's on the front of it. And I love when they do these. I have to save them, and it makes it a perfect place to go inside this folder. Postcards that were given out as part of this. And then the stuff that is actually the press release aspect of it are these things that are typed up like this. And I don't know if it actually came on as thick a paper as this is here, because I've got some press releases from original ones from back in the day that I managed to come across and get. And they were just on regular paper, so I don't know. But this is very cool. So it talks about what's, enclosed and what you're getting. That's an Arista Records thing. And then we get, a description about everything, a couple different pages of that. And then we get this whole thing about the album proper. And so basically, like the LP and everything, it has all that information. But this stuff also doubles as giving you more about what the album is and what it is that you're getting as part of all of that. And then you get this awesome mega poster that is the album cover. Let's see if I can get the whole thing. There we go, in the frame of it, which is just absolutely wild. Now, I'm one of those ones, I can't separate these things out from the collection and hang them on the wall as much as I would love to, because it's absolutely beautiful. I'm sort of a completist, a purist, and I want to keep all of my items that come with the box set together. But the folder itself, I have to say, is a cool thing for it to come in, because this just slides right in the box. And you get to have that as part of the whole thing. It's not falling apart. And it's also not just photographs of it in there. You're getting the real thing, because sometimes these boxes only come with the photographs of the stuff. All right, so bottom line on this box set, I think that it acts like a real sort of deep dive into one of the best prog albums of the 1970s. Personally, this is my favorite album of the Alan Parsons Project albums that they released. You not only get an amazing remaster with this, which I think is the definitive version at this point. You guys will have to listen and see if you agree with me, but I know a bunch of people felt the same way about the last two that they've done. You also get that fly on the wall experience, where I think it's both fun and eye-opening to hear the different items that build up and make the album. So in this box set, kind of the way that I approach it is that CD1 acts like a quick listen. It is the album, it's that amazing 2025 remix, and you get some cool bonus tracks that are on it. But CDs 2, 3, and 4 that are in here, that's that deep dive expanded edition where the album is fleshed out with all its amazing nuances and everything displayed and made available for you to enjoy. It is that 3-disc long version of the album. If you throw in then the 45 RPM cut 2 LPs that are in here, and the Blu-ray that has the Dolby Atmos and 5.1 surround sound on it, you really have the definitive version of this album for all its enjoyment. And I really think that this box set, makes it one of the best things that have been released by this band here, if you really want to do the deep dive and explore this album, for which I totally recommend. So there you go. That is my review of the Alan Parsons Project iRobot new box set. Thank you to Cooking Vinyl for providing me one of these early so that I could review it for you guys out there in advance of its release. But mark your calendars, October 17th. Make sure to check this out when it drops. I think you're going to really enjoy it. All right, everyone. Take care. Have a good one. And I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.